Shaun was a fine young man. He loved to play his fiddle and tell stories. He went all over Ireland telling Irish stories, and everyone loved him. They loved the touching stories of the heart that he told, like village to village that were quarreling. They would put their differences aside and have peace. And stories of love between a couple. This one day, there was a knight from the king's castle that came to see Shaun. He heard about him. He had quite a reputation of his Irish storytelling. And he listened to Shaun's story. He enjoyed his fiddle playing. Those stories touched his heart. Now, he was a soldier in the king's army, and he saw war, but these stories were soft and told of peace between people, especially the Irish. After he heard these stories, he went up to Shaun and he said, "Would you be interested in coming to the castle and tell your stories to the king? The king is troubled right now. He doesn't sleep at night. Maybe your stories could help him, Shaun." "Oh, I don't see how they could, but let me consider it. You think about it, and I'll come back to see you in 3 days." And when he came back, Shaun said, "I'd be happy to visit the castle and tell stories to the king." He did that. He met the king. The king fell in love with Shaun, as everyone in the villages and in the kingdom does. And the king, after hearing Shaun's stories, noticed he could sleep at night. All this trouble he had in his head and problems of his kingdom, he just set them aside when he heard Shaun's stories. After a time, Shawnee decided to go into the village. And in the village, he saw the most beautiful lass. She had red, wavy hair that went all down her back. She had emerald green eyes. Oh, she was so beautiful. And he picked up with her, and soon they fell in love. It didn't take long to fall in love with a beauty like that. And she loved Shaun's stories. He went back to the king and he said, "King, it's time for me to leave. I've met a lovely lass, and I'm going to marry her. And I'll have to leave the castle." Well, the king said, No, Shaun, bring your lovely lass to the castle, and I will build a cottage for you. Stay on the property. Shaun was just so happy and pleased with the king's decision, and so was his lovely lass. Now, Shaun had a routine. In the morning, he would get up early, and he would plan, and he would practice his stories that he would tell the king that evening. But this day, he really was struggling. His lovely lass came out and she said, "Shawnee, will you come in for breakfast?" She always picks him a big breakfast fit for a king. "No, I can't eat. I'm blocked. I can't seem to put a story together for the king." "Oh, Shawnee." Well, she was such a good wife. "I have a suggestion for you, Shawnee. Go into the woods. Go deep, deep into the woods. See what you see. Feel what you feel. Enjoy the woods. And see if that helps you put together a story." Well, Shawnee said, "Why, that's a wonderful idea." And into the woods he went. And the birds were singing. Oh, it was so enjoyable. And the squirrels were jumping from branch to branch in the spring. And he saw something as he went deeper in the woods that little green men, they ran from him, and he ran after them. Now, Shawnee was a strong man. Certainly he could catch them. No way could he catch these men. And as he followed them and chased after them, he saw something sparkling in the woods, and he went deep into the woods, and he saw what these green men had left. It was a pot of gold, a pot of gold. Oh, Shawnee grabbed it, and he took it. He wanted to take it home to his wife, and he envisioned buying her diamonds and a beautiful castle of his own. She would love that. And just as he was getting through the path, and he saw his lass standing there smiling with her emerald green eyes sparkling. And as he took that last step, he tripped, and the pot of gold went up in the air, and it all spilled back into the path in the woods. Now, Shawnee had heard the stories of the leprechauns, that you should never steal their gold. Shawnee realized that what he had done, and he fell on his knees, and he wondered, did he trip, or was he tricked? There was a big hole in his shoe, and his toe had been bitten right off. Oh, his wife came running to him and picked him up and kissed him on both cheeks. Shawnee, Shawnee. He told her the story, and she said, I've heard of those tales, Shawnee. Do you know, now you have a wonderful tale to tell the king tonight. A tale that is fit only for a king. Thanks.